All right, number one thing to improve show rate and how I wasted 10 years of my life. So if you're doing outbound cold call, cold email, LinkedIn, I want to tell you a story. So I want to talk about why hiring bartenders is pain. So when the craft cocktail scene really started in Philadelphia, I was really friendly with this one bartender. We're going to call her Jane. And Jane was really helpful in helping me design recipes before I would go to her bar. I wasn't really building drinks around a base spirit. I had a lot to learn about infusions and this, so I was always listening to her. And one day I offered Jane a job. So I said, Jane, why don't you come? You can teach our bartenders. We'll pay you $400 for the day. You can do it once a month. You can do it when you're not working. She's like, this sounds awesome. So I invited Jane to my facility, and she didn't show up, and she didn't call, and she didn't text. And it wasn't because she had anything against me. It wasn't because she didn't want to teach. It was just because she was drunk. So there are some markets and there are some people that are incredibly difficult to work with. So in hospitality, even with very high level professionals, there's a lot of no-shows because what do you know it? People that are around alcohol and drugs all the time sometimes take alcohol and drugs to excess. So this is like other ICPs. Some ICPs are just tougher than others. We have some clients where we do almost no automations and the show rate is 60, 70, 80, 90%. Why is that? So some ICPs just show and some ICPs just don't. You can only be their dad so much and send them like a million reminders. And even if you can get the show rate up artificially, like let's say we just live transfer every call to you immediately, they're still more difficult to sell to. So healthcare, one of the reasons we do healthcare is honestly playing the game on easy mode. So why? So they are accountable to three people. They're accountable to the regulators, they're accountable to their customers, they're accountable to investors. So they have a high degree of due diligence on all three fronts. So because of that, if a C-suite starts getting sloppy or missing meetings, the company's going to quickly replace them. They really have to be on the ball. And to play the game, they also need a fairly high budget, fairly high run rate. So our LTV is very nice and we have a good show rate and the close rate is high. And I learned this after working in hospitality, where I suffered a lot from this. You can really I wasted 10 years of my life just playing the wrong game. You could be like the world's best baseball player and you're playing table tennis. It doesn't help you. So what you can do is you can score your ICP. One of the things we always say is score them in terms of case studies, your expertise, and how easy they are to work with, and the projected customer LTV. The AI won't take you the whole way, but it'll start to point you in the right direction. The other thing that you can do is you can make your targets really broad, and then you'll notice that 4 or 5 niches over 6 months are easier to work with. They buy more consistently. Then you can start refining and narrowing down. But the easiest way, a lot of times we kill ourselves trying to come up with some magic automation that's going to make people show up and make people buy. And really, we just have to sell to people that are easier to sell to. So it's much easier to do what I do today than my 10 years plus in hospitality. That was a much more difficult life, a much more difficult job, much more difficult to make money. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Have a great day. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.